We often hear about the richest people in the world. From tech leaders, oil tycoons, and big company bosses, it seems like the richest few are always getting richer. One might think today's billionaires are the richest in history, but that's not really true. Historians often point to a king from the 14th century, Mansa Musa of Mali, as the wealthiest person ever. His wealth was so huge it was said to be beyond words, but despite being relatively unknown, how did this king from a little-known country become so wealthy? Today on Economy Obsession, we look into the life of Mansa Musa, the richest person to have ever walked on the planet Earth. It's tough to get a clear picture of the Mali Empire and Mansa Musa's rule because there aren't many sources. We have some writings from Ibn Khaldun, a historian, Ibn Battuta, a traveler, and Al-Amuri, a geographer. In the 16th and 17th centuries, storytellers in Mali, known as griots, also started writing down their stories. Portuguese explorers in the 15th century mentioned Mali from time to time. But despite these limited sources, the writings of Ibn Khaldun are especially valuable for learning about the history of the Mali Empire and Mansa Musa's time as king. The Mali Empire's story is reported in the Epic of Sundiata. Sundiata Keita was the son of the king of the Mandinka people. After his father died, Sundiata's brother took over as king, and Sundiata was sent away to the court of the king of Mima. However, when the Mandinka needed him to fend off an invasion by the Soso Empire, Sundiata, then 18 years old, gathered an army from Mima and defeated the Soso around 1235 at the Battle of Kiriana. This victory led to the founding of the Mali Empire, with Sundiata becoming its first emperor, or Mansa. In the Mali Empire, the emperor's power was checked by the Gbara, a council similar to the parliamentary upper chamber. This council brought together nearly 30 clans, each responsible for specific duties, from leading military campaigns to specializing in religious affairs. The Gbara also voted on the Kurugun Fuga, a collection of laws acting as a proto-constitution. These laws defined the roles of the clans, demanding humane treatment of slaves, and set the social and economic frameworks for the empire's subjects. The Mali Empire was rich in resources, including 3 major gold mines directly controlled by the Mansa. At its height, the empire held nearly half the world's known gold reserves. Mali was also abundant in salt and copper, which remained using slave labor, making it a state reliant on slavery. At a time when Europe was far from the global power it had been during the Roman era, Mali's main trading partners were the cities and states of the Middle East. This is where Musa rose to power. He was originally the deputy to Emperor Muhammad ibn Qu. Some say it was Abu Bakr II who had aspirations of discovering new lands across the Atlantic. Around 1311, Muhammad went on an expedition with 2,000 ships. He made Musa his deputy before leaving, but he never returned, which led to Musa becoming the Mansa. Musa was well versed in Arabic and deeply devout in his Muslim faith. He's credited with expanding Mali's trade networks, significantly increasing both the empire's and his own wealth. Although Mali and Mansa Musa were prosperous, sub-Saharan Africa was largely unknown to Europe and Middle Eastern peoples at the time. Driven perhaps by religious duty or a desire to display his and Mali's wealth, in 1324 Mansa Musa embarked on a pilgrimage to Mecca. The pilgrimage was a mighty affair. Musa spared no expense, providing lavish meals and desserts at every stop. His procession included 12,000 personal slave women dressed in brocade and Yemeni silk, alongside thousands of soldiers and members of the royal court. They carried vast amounts of gold and provisions for the journey, which spanned 4,000 miles to Mecca. The caravan, with its massive golden tents, was a sight to behold, drawing the gaze of rulers in every region it passed through, including during a memorable visit to Cairo in 1324. The Mamluk Sultan al-Malik al-Nasir sent an envoy to invite the Malian emperor to his palace. Initially, Mansa Musa declined, saying that his sole purpose was the holy pilgrimage. However, he treated the envoy with great courtesy and sent gold and other gifts to the Sultan as a sign of respect. A major reason for Musa's initial refusal was that the royal protocol required visitors to kiss the ground and the sultan's hand. Eventually, after much persuasion, Mansa Musa agreed to meet the sultan. At the moment when he was supposed to kneel and kiss the ground, he declared, "I make obeisance to Allah who created me," and kissed the ground, cleverly maintaining respect for his host while not acknowledging the sultan as his superior. The pilgrimage had significant economic impacts. Mansa Musa distributed so much gold in Cairo and to its inhabitants that he caused an economic crisis. The sudden influx of gold devalued it, starting a decade-long economic downturn in Egypt. Gold's depreciation led to economic losses of around $1.5 billion across the Middle East. It's also said that when Mansa Musa realized the negative effects of his generosity, he tried to stabilize the market by buying back as much of the gold as he previously distributed. The local storytellers often refrain from praising him in their songs, believing that he squandered local resources outside The Mansas owned all the gold within their realm. There's no record of a sudden increase in gold production or the discovery of new mines during Mansa Musa's reign that would have made him wealthier than his predecessors or successors. Therefore, it's likely that other major emperors of Mali were as rich as Musa. However, unlike others, Musa put himself and Mali on the map with his spectacular pilgrimage to Mecca. His display of wealth, glamour, and generosity in the Middle East captivated many and made historians take notice. Historians and scholars offer various descriptions of his wealth. Some suggest imagining the greatest amount of gold a person could possess and then doubling it, indicating that Musa was the richest man anyone had ever seen. Rudolf Butch Ware from the University of California says the contemporary accounts of Musa's wealth are so overwhelming that it's almost impossible to grasp the extent of his riches. Although some estimates suggest his wealth could be around $400 billion when adjusted for inflation, and that is double the money Jeff Bezos has right now. Despite the limited sources available to fully detail Mansa Musa's reign, life, and wealth, the existing records support that he was not only a successful military leader who annexed 24 cities and expanded the Mali Empire, but also a progressive leader who valued education and science for the prosperity of his realm. However, Mansa Musa is mostly celebrated for his unprecedented wealth, widely believed to be the richest individual in history. That's all we have for you today. Make sure you subscribe and have clicked the bell icon. Please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. It helps us immensely.